So hi everybody and welcome back to the Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 12 for our tiny game. So I decided to talk first about the basic load system, which we already talked in the template intro to Unreal, and the reason for that is the advanced load save system could be a little bit confusing, so it is better that we know the basic nodes here and then we can go on. First of all, we open up the game mode, so you go to the world settings, then here is the game mode, click on this one, double click, and we have it. So I will talk about the code more in general, but if you want more information in detail, you can use the AI. Here use F1, for example, you hover your mouse over it, press F1 and you get then more information, or use just the internet. Okay, event begin play is our start node, which means when you start the game, here press play. This one will be called when you have assigned this here in a game mode, which is associated with the world here. Then we have here a sequence node, which means we can execute two ways in this case, or even more if we press here plus. And the sequence node execute first this line on top till it is finished, not only here, it is finishing the whole code here, and after that it returns here and goes to the second line and finish everything here. In our case, the load save system is only this line on top, so we don't need this bottom because this one is just a widget creation, which is a user interface. And of course, when you want to create nodes, you right click here in this free space, then here is a search bar, write the node name, for example here sequence, and it pops up most time, not all time, when it is not context bound, because you can see here on top there says context sensitive, which means only here if it's available you will see it. In this case, sequence we can use here, so we see it. The next node here is a function node, which is not provided by the engine, which means we have to create this. And how we create a function, we go here to the sidebar down, we have here a section function, then you press here the plus sign and then you create a new function with, and then you name it. After you created this function here, then you can again drag this out, write your function name. Here it says load game, and you can see here on top call function. This is this one here, and load game is that what we just created here, or what they have provided here in this case. And they use all time a function because we can reuse it all time and don't have to write the code inside the function over and over again. Also keep in mind there are blueprint functions or C++ functions, and you can check this by opening up the function. For example, you select this function here, double click it, and now we are inside the function and we can see this is a blueprint. In C++ it would open up now IDE, for example Visual Studio or anything else, and then you see the C++ code with the function. After you created this function here, it is all time the start node with the function name, and then we call the nodes which we need. The problem at start for beginners is there are built-in nodes like this one, and there are other nodes which are not built in, and you don't know probably it at start, but don't worry, after a while you learn this kind of nodes. Then we write the node does save game exist. This function is a built-in function, so you go here, does save game exist, and you can see F stands for function, but it is provided by Epic, and when I double click on it, you see here reading C++ symbols, but nothing pops up because this is a launcher installation and not a source code installation, which means if you have installed this Unreal Engine from source, then this one would open up the source code and show you how this one is implemented in the engine. But we don't need it, we just need to know that this node exists and to use it. And like the name, it just checks if there is a save game. And how it is checking that? By providing a slot. And you can see the slot here, this one is a variable, so a local variable in this case. You can see this here in the section variables. Here is not here, but here local variables. And then you have also provide the type. Okay, and how you make a local variable? Just press the plus sign, write here the name, in this case save tile, and then provide also here the type. In this case they is a string, and then you have to compile save, because after you compile this one, if you check the details default value, this will be only available after compiling, and then you can write here something. They write here the name save, which is the save slot, which then this node is checking if something like this exists on your hard drive. And let's say you want to check it as a programmer, if this one is already created, what you can do is just go here, open up the content drawer, click any of these files here, right click, and then you have here the option show in Explorer. Then the Explorer will show up where this file is, but we are not interested in this file here. So we go here back where the save game is, because we are right now in core. And remember, everything what you see here is in the folder content. You can see this one is the place where I click on content, and the content itself is in the template intro to tutorial. So we have, and this here what you see now are all the files which contains for this template. Important for us is now to go to know two things. One, content is the working space, this is everything, but in our case we have to go back to saved, and in this saved section there is a saved game. You click on the save game and you can see this one is the thing which we save on our hard drive to save every data, and we can check, okay, this one is already created, but when the game starts, this one is normally not created. So back to our node, this node here is exactly checking if this what you saw before is created or not, and then we make a check with a branch. How you make a branch? You just right click branch, and then the branch says yes, this file is created, then it will go on top. No, this file is not created, then it will go down. And you can see this red line here. This is this condition check here. This says yes, I found it, or no, I don't found it. That's why we put it here in the condition section. Okay, and then we say here yes, we found it. Then we just load it from this slot because we have already this in our hard drive, and we saw it. In my case, I have this save file. But let's say you start a new game, then this save file exists not, then this one will say no, I don't found it, and it will follow the false path here, and it will create a new save file and save this to our hard drive. The normal way is the false path, so we start with this one and we make a create save game from object, because we don't have this, so we have create this one, but we have to create a special file for this. When you click on this one here, it opens up what already exists when I hover my mouse over it, and you can read here this tooltip. It says their native parent class is save game, and this save game file we have to create, which is already created here, and pass it in. But let's create ourselves again another save game. So right click here, then you go to the blueprint class here on top. Here you click design all classes and you write save game. And careful, sometimes you see here many other things, but you have to take the top one, because this is the base, and the other ones which you see is created by the programmer, another programmer, which we are most time not interested, only interested in if they are providing us useful things. But right now we just take this base, you select this one, and then you just name what you want. Like they called it BP save game, we would call it normally G, for example, save game, and then save data, and then perhaps deep, and something like that. Then you can open this one up, and then you have to provide here the data which you want save. Most time data means just variables, so you create your variables which you want save on your hard drive, and later variables which you want load from your hard drive. So instead using this one here, I delete this because I go back to the already provided one. So let's delete this one here, we don't need that. Instead we open this one up, what they already provided, and you can see they have created here one data. This variable what they created here is of type actor, but let's create also a variable to see how this works. Let's call our variable just health, and then we have here the variable name. Okay, and then here we have a type which we have to set. The type is just what what kind of data we can store in this. For example, the actor can something save, which we can place here in the world. The type health should be a number, and a number as a type, we have different options. We could choose integer, this integer float, and so we choose here just, for example, float, and then we compile save, and you can see we have created a variable with a type, and again, type means all time what we can store in it. But we have to be careful here with this type because there are other options. And what I mean with other options is you can of course provide your own type by creating an actor. For example, this spawn point here is an actor, but of course you as a programmer can also create an actor. Let me show you how to make fast an actor. For example, right click, I go here to blueprint class, here an actor. Let's open this one up. You can see it is called new blueprint. I just compile save this one, and then I go back here, and then I go here to actor and write here new blueprint, and you can see now I have a new type, which is I created this type, which is just a class, and then I can choose here and object reference. You have choose most time object reference because this is the object which is just created. The other things have a slightly different behavior but almost the same. All time, keep in mind, use this one here. And one more thing, after you created a type, you have all time compile, and then after that one you can go to the details panel. Here is the default value. This is available only after compile. And remember, this spawn point when I go to the level is the place where my player comes, and if I stop the game and start here again, that it starts here again, and this one is the variable which holds this place. Okay, we have now created our save game. We go back, and after we create save game object, we assign this one here. So you find this one, they have this one here assigned. They have here, they made here a reference so they can use this one in other places later. And this reference here, you can make it like a variable. You go here to the section variable, you press plus, and then you name it. They call this save, and then you find again the type, which is the return value of this one. This is done BP save data. You can see it's BP save data, but because this one is sometimes very hard or takes a lot of time, many use a trick, which is that you just go out from here, not from the white one, from the blue one, and then promote to variable or local variable, most time variable, and then this one is automatically filled with the type, so you have just to name it. And the reason why they make here a variable name about this return value is so that they have not to go all time to this place to use it. What I mean with that is, instead of going here, you can now just get this variable name here. Let's say we get this, and then you can connect it where you need it. And after that we want save everything. But what I mean save everything, so first of all, we have here created a save game object and this save game data, which with the variable, actually this variable holds now our data which we want saved. And then we go to this new node, save game to slot, and this new node, you can see it takes the save game object, which is this one, the return value from here, and this one is the same thing. And then it says, okay, whatever you have here, I will save this one. We can see this is this input here, and where it is saving, you can see here is a slot name, and we have provided this with this local variable. Save this to the slot name save in my hard drive, and I showed you this before in my hard drive. This will be created now on your hard drive, and user index here is just okay. This one is only called first time, but the second time when we start our game, this line will be not called because this check here will start here again, load game from check, then it checks again and say, oh wait a minute, I found this save file on your hard drive. Then it goes here on top, and then instead of creating a save game object, it will call the built-in node load game from slot. This is just the opposite. Here we saved it, and here we load it, and here we have just to provide the slot name. In this case, we save this in our variable and say, hey, I have this save on my hard drive, use this one. And the next step here, this cast is needed not for the loading, it is more needed for us as a programmer that we can use the loaded data. What I mean with that is this one is just loading whatever the slot has, but here in the engine we need access to this variable again. And the way we access is we make a cast to this type here which we created, because here we have actually a return type of this one, but this one here, the return type from here is a general one, because this one is our specific save game which we created, and this one here is so the global save game which is not specified. That's why we need here this cast, and after this cast you can see we have here options. One option, it goes here which says you continue with your execution, but here we can make a check. Sometimes cast not works and you can write here a check, for example print string or show me an info or anything, and here let's say the cast was successful, then you can use now here this return value. Careful, this return value is not the same as this one, because this return value here is our specific data type which we created. This one converted to our specific data type, and our specific data type means we have now access to this one here, and we are saving this one to the just before created save file, because like I said, you save this in a variable, so later I can just get this one, and now from this one I can anyhow get this actor spawn point. Let's see if I can get this. I write here spawn point, and you can see in the default section get spawn point. Now I have this variable which we saved here in our save data, and this one I can assign now or use now in my loaded level. Okay, we jump back then to the event graph because the function is finished, and if the function is finished it returns this node here, so it goes here from here on, and then we see here a get. So at this point I stop the video, and in the next video we will continue exactly from here, and like all time, if you have any questions, write in the comment section. See you next video. Bye and good luck.